Welcome to the Mint City Soccer Show. I'm your host, Matt Swift. Unfortunately, there is no David Gussler tonight. But I do have Corey Inscoe. Corey, how are you?
A decent replacement. Not quite to the level of David Gussler, but when you're in a pinch, I'll do as a stand-in. So doing good. How you doing, Matt?
Pretty good. Thanks for coming behind the board and joining us for this discussion.
Only emergency times that you pull me out of there, but happy to be here.
Nice. We do have two special guests, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to regret having them on.
They both laughed when you said special guest. Like, I don't know. That's a really good start. Both of them individually laughed.
But I have Donny Embleton, a.k.a. Fat Bird.
How we doing?
And then I have a dear friend that I've known for a very, very long time, Stephen Mueller.
What's going on? Why didn't I get an AKA?
Oh, you have some AKA. I can't say it. I can't say it. So we are also fortunate enough to have Birdsong give us some beers tonight. And Stephen, do you want to tell a little bit about the beers and what we're about to drink and try and taste?
Yeah. So this is the St. Tuber Abbey Ale from Birdsong Brewing out of Charlotte on North Davidson Street. This is a limited edition, not pumpkin beer. This is a sweet potato beer.
And why not pumpkin beer?
Well, my understanding is the brewmaster there is a kind of against the old pumpkin craze, so he wanted to do something with sweet potatoes. So there you go. Pretty good.
I like it. There are a lot of pumpkin beers out there, especially in Charlotte, and so I kind of appreciate that they went a different direction. It's very tasty.
Yeah, they're a cool brewery. I mean, I don't know if you've been there or not, but they do a lot of cool things. Yep. And I've known them since they were really, really new in the Charlotte scene, and pretty good. Just so you know, if you do want this, you have to go to their to the brewery to get it. So just a heads up, these will not be sold in Harris Teeter or someplace like that.
Well, there you go. It is very, very tasty, and thanks for Birdsong for hooking us up with this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers guys.
Cheers to that.
I'm going to spill with a Phil beer.
Let's not spill. Oh, God.
There we
Donny.
go.
There you go.
All right, guys. Donny, let's start with you.
All right. Sure.
So I've known you for about 6 years, and we met through our wives.
Yep.
But no one really cares about that. I think what people really want to know is why you were called Fat Bird. So tell us that story.
It's not as exciting as it may seem, but I was with the Fort Mill chapter. We were watching the Toronto game earlier in the season at Voodoo Wings, and Mike DeVos was there with us, and our president, Becca Mitchum. We're watching the game. It was after halftime, and just randomly, I'm sitting next to Mike. He's like, dude, look at this fat bird. And he hands me his phone, and there's this very large pigeon. And I look down,
That sounds like Mike.
I'm like, that really is a fat bird. As this happens, Camille scores his first MLS goal. Completely miss it. And everyone's cheering, and we're looking down at the phone. And I'm like, dude, is this a lucky bird? I think this is a lucky fat bird. And he's like, you should be Fat Bird. And at the time, for those of you who remember, I was actually Kerwin's right foot.
Kerwin Vargas's right foot. Yeah, that was also your alias.
My original alias. So from that moment on, Fat Bird was born. It's been fairly lucky for the year. There's a sticker, not quite like yours, but we've got that Fat Bird pigeon sticker, and name stuck.
So for people who don't know, they were making fun of me because I have a sticker of myself on my laptop. Someone made a sticker of me, and I didn't know what to do with it when someone makes a sticker of you. So I put it on my laptop, but they're making fun of me.
As they should.
Yeah.
But Donny, back to the Fat Bird story.
Yeah.
Donny he may not be superstitious, but he is a little stitious.
A little bit.
Donny will wear the same things, drink the same things. If there's like a winning streak going, he does that with Georgia football and Eagles football. I've seen it firsthand. But yeah, thanks for telling us the story of Fat Bird. I'm sure people were wanting to know. And that does sound like a Mike DeVos thing. So, Stephen Mueller.
Oh, boy.
So I had to do some math here because I was trying to figure out how long I've actually known you. It's a miracle that we're friends this long. So I met Stephen in 1994.
Yes, you did.
29 years ago, my friend. Can you believe that?
I cannot actually. No, I cannot. Good God.
Steven's a year younger than I am in school. Mm-hmm. So I was a freshman in '93, so I met you in '94. That's how I did the math. But yeah, so Steve and I went to high school together. We played high school soccer together. Mm-hmm. We played club soccer together. Mm-hmm. And we have season ticket together. Mm-hmm. Like, so we sit together. Fun fact about Steven never shuts up. So
I've been good thus far.
So
you
know, like when you go to events and there's like a moment of silence, I worry about Steven during the moment of silence.
I'm also respectful, thank you.
Steven never, like during the whole entire game, when we're watching the game, he's just always saying something. Mm-hmm. We went on a trip to Iceland, and we're having a great day. It's at the end of the day. We're all in the van together, hanging out. Everybody's tired. We're relaxing. No one's talking except for Steven, who won't shut up, and no one's responded to him, so he just starts like, oh, there's a snowplow. There's a street sign. And finally, I'm like, Steven, shut the fuck up. We get it.
Family show.
Yeah. But still, like, so yeah, Steven.
I did do that, actually. I forgot that I had done that, but you remember it vividly.
I remember a lot of things that you did.
That was a fun trip.
It was a fun trip.
It was a very fun trip.
So I have a question from this side of the table. So what's the dynamic like at the matches? Because I feel like I've never actually seen you at a game, but I feel like I imagine, my picture of you at least, is there with the notebook, scribbling things down, very focused. And is he just talking the whole time and you're just like tuning it out? Like,
yes.
What's the dynamic here?
So funny thing is, we actually sit just like this.
Yeah.
He sits to my left.
Yeah.
So we're actually sitting like this at the game, and I'm like this, looking. Mm-hmm. I might be yelling at the coach because he's, making dumb decisions.
Former coach.
Former coach, that's correct. And Steven is just chirping in my ear the whole time, and that's the dynamic.
You need to hear me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen this, Corey, but there's actually a picture online of the three of us at a game together, and that's like Matt's like this. I'm laughing because Steven's got his hands. He's clearly telling a story.
He's telling a story.
And we're
Always
just all just in the rain, just laughing our asses off.
It's probably about 50% truth too. So
That's true. That's true. So, all jokes aside, I want to talk a little bit about what got you guys into Charlotte FC. And so, Donny, let's start with you.
You.
Okay.
That was quick. All right.
Yeah. Transition. But no, did you play soccer growing up? What got you into soccer in the first place? And then, kind of how did you get into Charlotte FC?
Yeah, aside from you. I did grow up playing soccer up until I switched over to golf, and I've been doing that ever since. But
Donny is a very good golfer, by the way.
Yes.
I'm okay. But I grew up a big fan of Italy and England. I'm half English, half Italian, so a lot more national teams, not a lot of club teams. And when I heard we were getting a team here, I was just really excited to have our own team. And I think that's one of the cool things about just Charlotte FC. No matter where you're from, there are a lot of people from a lot of different areas. They can come together. It's not like the NFL where you've got, maybe you're from Philadelphia, like me, you're an Eagle fan. Mm-hmm. You live in Charlotte. Charlotte team is formed. I wasn't a Union fan or anything growing up, so it was just the easy fix. And I love going to games. It's so much fun.
Yeah, and you've taken your dad a couple times, and he's enjoyed it.
My dad has a blast at games. And I know you
He's
guys have
hilarious.
been there for it. He's enjoyed the supporters a lot before the games quite a bit. Allison's come a couple times. My mom has actually come. She loves the games. So, just got to get Parker here eventually, but he's still a little young for it.
Yeah, you can bring him next year. He's 5. He'll be good.
So, Steven, let's talk about you.
Yes.
Now, I know you've been playing soccer for most of your life at a young age. Like I said, we played together. Steven was a very good player. Had an amazing bowl cut in high school.
It was
by the way.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah,
Epic bowl cut. He
should
had
put
like
that in.
super blonde hair. He was actually shorter than I was in high school. Skinny as a rail.
Yep.
Very good. I think you were number 12.
I was always number 12. Yes, I was.
Wow. Steel trap right there, buddy.
Yeah, you're number 16.
That's right. I was number 16. So Steven was really good. Steven, so I know you also were a referee at one time. And that's a lot of times that's kind of our discussion too. I'm like, oh, this ref sucks. And Steven's like, no, that was actually a good call.
He hates it when I do that.
And then I tell him to shut up. And then that's kind of the dynamic. But so what got you into Charlotte FC? How excited have you been about the team?
Honestly, kind of similar to Donny, you played a big part in it, to be quite honest, because like once they came, you were all over it. And of course, I was always psyched about having a team here. And I mean, heck, I never thought that we would have a team here. I mean, I grew up in relatively rural North Carolina and frankly was picked on through my elementary and middle school years for playing soccer. At one point, I was the only person in my grade level that played soccer. And yeah, I mean, there were some challenging times. But anyway, so we get the team, it forms, you start getting really involved, and like, all right, yeah, I'll go. I'll buy tickets with you. And next thing you know, we start going to all the games, and yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of fun. Just seeing the team progress, and the atmosphere is absolutely amazing. I mean, I can say this, Donnie, to your point, it's a good family-friendly event. It's I bring my daughter there now. She literally will cry if I don't bring her to the matches. So she wants to go to every single match. She's mad right now because she thought that I was going to be she thought I was going to a game, not doing this tonight. So, but yeah, I mean, that was the main thing. She would have been
very disappointed.
Oh yeah, she would have been upset. But yeah, that was the main thing. I mean,
yeah. Fun fact too. So in Slack, I'm always a stickler because we have so many different channels in Slack. But there's a new channel in Slack called Camping, and a lot of the guys are getting together. David Gussler, who's not on the show tonight, but he's trying to get this camping trip going. Guess where they're going, Steven? Morrow Mountain.
Ooh, that's the good old days.
Near Baden, where Steven is from.
Morrow Mountain State Park.
So I thought that was pretty fun. I was like, hey, I know that place.
Yeah. In fact, I worked there. My sister and my brother all worked there at some point in our lives.
Yeah, you were a lifeguard at the
I was a lifeguard. Yes, I was. That's how I had the blonde hair.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. Corey, for people that don't know your story or maybe haven't heard past episodes, tell us how you got here and how and why you got into Charlotte FC.
So I started following soccer a little more closely about 2010, that World Cup back then, as I started getting into it, but never got an MLS before that or around that time. I had an English team, Stoke City, which is a whole other story on its own.
Stoke? You're the first person I've ever known that said that.
I know.
Yeah,
I have to shout out. I don't have his name handy, and this is a bad thing for me, but I actually got an email about the podcast from a guy who is a Stoke City fan, lives in England, lives in, I don't know if he's in Stoke, but in that area, who is a Charlotte FC fan also, and he heard me mention on the podcast and reached out and emailed me. So it was like the coolest mirror image thing, and he was like, "Is there anybody else that cheers for Stoke there?" No, absolutely not.
That sounds like a good jersey swap.
I'm trying to figure it out, but literally no one else. But anyway, so I got into that, but never really could stick with MLS. I tried picking teams, just nothing ever really stuck. But got more into the local scene with our good friend Johnny Wakefield when he started a thing called Soccer and Sweet Tea.
That's right.
Which was a blog and newsletter and podcast intermittently that we did for a little while there, covering a lot of the lower level USL and below teams. So did that, and then when he got involved with Mint City, he pulled me along with him there too, because he liked to launch podcasts and then give up on them.
For sure.
He likes to start things and then put people in roles and run away, and he's great at it. And he puts really good people in good positions, so it works out.
And that's why we're here. Right?
He has a gift, but yeah, he did that, and so that kind of got me into the Mint City thing before we ever even had a team. But I was always wanting kind of what you were saying earlier is I wanted that local team. Like I could never get into a fandom of an MLS team I didn't care about. So having and even with Stoke, I mean that's just a random team I picked in England. So whatever.
That is very random.
There's a story behind it, but
is it because of Jeff Cameron? Because he played there.
Kind of. Okay. So I traced the Inscoe name back to England as far back as I possibly could, and the county that the Inscoe line is from is the county that Stoke is in. So I just I found the county, I looked it up, and I was like, what Premier League teams are here? It was Stoke City. And then they had an American on the team, which was another thing I wanted.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. That makes sense.
It was logical, but now it's like cheering for a middling championship team. Like, why? Why?
That's what it's about, man. It's about being miserable.
Yeah. But anyway, this is the first team I felt like I had ownership over as a soccer fan. Yeah. I went to Independence games, really enjoyed those. And all that, but I didn't really feel like part of that either. So this is the first team that I really felt like this was my team. This is like something I'm really into, and I've really loved it ever since.
I did something similar. I traced my ancestors back to Somerset, England. I'm very English like 90% English. And Yeoviltown is
Yeah,
the
there you
team I
go.
would support. I'm like, oh man, I think they're like yellow and green, like the most ugliest
Yeah.
colors ever. So
Yeah.
I guess that's who I should be supporting, but
Yeah.
I'm an Arsenal fan.
But at the time, though, like Stoke was, it made more sense when I started cheering for them. They were like mid-table, like finishing 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Had been in the Premier League for several years at that point.
Yeah.
Like it kind of
Yeah, they
seemed
were kind of a
stable.
mainstay for
Yeah.
a
And
bit.
we're that way for like the first 4 or 5 years I followed, and then they just cratered. So now,
They couldn't keep pace, man. They weren't buying anybody.
no.
Oh man, that's cool. Yeah, I wish Gosler was here to kind of tell his story, but we'll get him next time.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I'm asking is, it's almost Thanksgiving, so I thought this would be a cool time to get everybody together, get my friends here, and talk about the team and talk about what we're kind of grateful for as far as Charlotte FC is concerned. So Donny, I will start with you.
Okay.
What are some of the things that you're thankful for, or maybe not? We can even do not thankful for. But let's start with maybe a positive.
Not thankful.
Why not?
Wow. Okay.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Wasn't expecting that question. First off, I will say I am very thankful for my wife for allowing me to spend an exorbitant amount of time with you jokers, because when
That's
this thing
true.
started, it was like, our wives, we've talked about this, we go on these away trips once a year.
Oh.
But outside of that one trip a year, we go to a lot of other soccer games that they don't go to.
Yeah.
And so she's been great about, watching Parker and being cool with me going for 5 hours every Saturday or Wednesday, depending on when we were playing, right?
Yep.
So very thankful for her. I'm also very thankful for Mint City Collective. I knew you coming into this, and Stephen and I briefly met at your bachelor party.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's how you
And
met.
that's where that all started, and we won't go down that.
We're not going to
That
talk.
rabbit
That
hole.
story is not going to be
At
discussed
all.
tonight. Nope.
No. But outside of you, like going to the games, I feel like I've got a family with the group. Like it's not just when I first started going to the supporter lot for a game. I'd come see you, and you were always getting pulled in all different directions, and it was like, now I'll see you in passing.
I
and it's
don't
like,
need that at all.
We're good. Like
That guy sucks anyway.
See you now. Like got this special handshake with Mike DeVos, the Fat Bird handshake
Fat
and all
Bird
that fun stuff.
handshake.
Like I've got my own little group now with them, and I love that. But
Nice.
when I think about the team, I'm not going to go with a not thankful. One of the things I've said this to you, and I've said it to others from the beginning, the player accessibility for a professional team.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this. I remember the first, that inaugural season last year, first win at home. Right after the game, Fuchs gets the boys over to the supporter section. He said something, and then they all ran over. And I remember sending a message on X or in Instagram at the time, and I just put, at Christian Fuchs or whatever, what did you say to them? And he responded
Yeah.
very quickly.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of it. Like when you think about the different things that this team does, like they did that cool golf event at Tempo, got to meet some of the players
That's
with
right.
that.
That's right.
BB did his event at Hop Fly, the player fan appreciation night where you get to, kind of interact with the players and just their social media. I've never seen a professional organization in any other sport where you can just send messages back and forth and they respond.
Yeah.
Like usually they're probably like, what's this pain in the ass? Sending me a message. I got enough stuff.
It's
worrying
normally
about.
you that they think that about.
Yeah. I think, Steven, here we go again. This Steve guy keeps sending me messages. What the hell does he want? But like they're just super interactive, and I just think that's super cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a great thing. Stephen, what about you?
I mean, there's a lot to be thankful for. I mean, obviously, my family and wife are, letting me go to so many games, and now it helps a little bit because I am able to bring Anna with
That
me.
does help.
Yeah, definitely. But
Gives Sabrina a little bit of a break.
I am, yeah, absolutely. So, but the biggest thing I have to say I'm grateful for in terms of soccer or Charlotte FC is Anna, and seeing her light up and want to come to the matches and get, really get involved and get engaged, because I've been sort of nudging her towards the pitch and I haven't gotten real far, and now all of a sudden she goes to all these and she's like, yeah, I want to play. So this is the first time that I've ever been asked for her to that she wants to play. So this spring we're going to play, and I guess I'm going to be dusting off my old coaching gear here to coach her, which is frightening. And
That is very scary.
But you know what? It kind of goes into that, though, the thankfulness, because I was, as we talked about, I refereed, I coached, I played, and all this, and I was burned out for like 10 years. And just didn't want anything to do with soccer, to be quite honest with you. And then this club shows up, you get me involved. Now Anna loves it. We're meeting some people involved with the club and things like that. And it's just been, I'm so grateful that my passion for soccer, aka football, has has come back, and it's just been a lot of fun. And honestly, to see people I haven't seen in a long time either. We run into our old teammates all the time and people like that, and it's like, man, I hadn't seen you in 20 years, but it's like you just saw them yesterday. So it's super cool.
Yeah, it has been kind of an interesting thing to see folks from high school and college and stuff like that kind of all kind of share this thing, and you see them randomly at a game like, oh my God, where you been? And then like in no time you're chatting again. And
it was crazy. I was sitting beside the guy that sits beside us, the guy that's probably in his 50s. We started talking, and he asked me my name, and then we were talking about refereeing somehow, and it turned out I had probably done like 20 matches with that guy when I was in college refereeing, and we just didn't. We recognized each other's name. It's like, oh my gosh, that's you. So I mean, it was like super cool that now I know that he sits beside us every game, and even though I'm not refereeing, we'll see him at the matches. So, yeah.
Stephen was also a pretty good referee too.
Yeah, I think I was pretty darn good.
So,
I would have been a better referee than honestly, if I had stuck with it, I would have been a better referee than the player.
Yeah.
But no kidding.
When Steven first started refereeing, I think I went to a couple games that you refereed, and I may or may not have heckled him.
Yes.
As you should have.
Yeah.
Yes. With my bowl cut.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you had an epic bowl cut, man. I will say that. Corey.
Yeah.
What are you thankful for, man?
So I'm going to take the same family route that y'all didn't flip a little bit, because my wife, we got season tickets together, and before this, she was not that big of a soccer fan. Like, she would watch the World Cup with me, but most of them because I was watching it and kind of would occasionally get into it. So I didn't know how this would go with her coming to the matches and things like that. I thought maybe this would last a couple matches and I'll start bringing friends and whoever, but she's really gotten into it cool. And loves the team and is like very into the matches and stressed out when things are going poorly or excited. So it's been really fun to like actually enjoy those games with her. Something I didn't necessarily expect to happen. So it's been a lot of fun having her there and getting to do that together. And I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. Our 5-year-old's come to a couple matches, and that's been fun too. She's still not really caring about too much what's going on the field, but she still loves the atmosphere and being there. And she likes the Dippin' Dots and the popcorn.
Yeah, there you go. Face painting.
But yeah, face paint. Yeah, we got to get face paint.
Yeah.
Popcorn first half, Dippin' Dots second half, and she's good.
There you go.
But no, to the same point where even like if I'm going to a match, she'll want to go, even if she's not really following what's happening on the field. She like loves it and wants to be a part of it. So that's been a really cool thing to do with her too. The other thing I was going to say was just the fan support and the support of the team in general, because I think my worry always when we were rumored about getting a team, even going back to the first MLS bid that was doomed from the beginning, it felt like the soccer fandom in Charlotte was like a very niche thing, a very small thing. Mm-hmm. And so my worry was always like, we're going to get this team and no one's going to care and no one's going to come out and it's going to be a half empty stadium and just awful. And so like I've talked about this in the podcast before, when I started seeing, before the season even started, when I started seeing people wearing Charlotte FC gear just like out in the wild at Birdsong, legitimately, that was the first time I really noticed it. Was that Birdsong Brewing? I saw people like walking around with Charlotte FC gear, and then like the first game when you had 70,000, and then even when you're getting into this season and it's a Wednesday night game, that really doesn't mean a whole lot, and you still got 20 to 30,000 coming out of these matches. Like that's been the coolest thing to me is like this. It's struck a nerve in some way, and I hope that continues, and I hope that the team makes smart decisions that allow them to have success in the field that allow that support to continue as well too. But that's been a really cool part to me.
Yeah, well, we've made a pretty good smart decision in the off season so far.
So far.
That's what I think. That's what I am thankful for, that we're moving in a positive direction with maybe a new hire coming soon at the helm. But before we get any further, you're probably, if you're watching on video, you're probably wondering where the hell we are. Steven, do you want to tell everybody like where we're recording?
Yeah, we're at a local mortgage company called Grow Mortgage here based out of Charlotte. We're in their uptown office, and they have this podcast room, and we're gracious enough to offer us the room to do the podcast tonight. Thought we'd change the venue a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, a few different people on the show, so change up the venue. And
I kind of like this setup.
It is sweet.
This is nice.
Yeah, it is sweet. Yeah, Russell was great, the owner. He came in and got us all set up and rolling. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. And yeah, also, again, shout out to Birdsong. And then, of course, we got to shout out our main sponsor, Renegade Goalkeeping. Steven, I know you want to put on the gloves, so go ahead and put on the gloves.
Thank you. Both of them are just one.
Whatever you want to do, Steven.
I just wanted to know.
World
Yeah,
is
you
your
can put one on
oyster.
too. I'm just glad I finally got these gloves. Matt has had these gloves in his possession for what, 3-4 months now?
Yeah,
And I haven't gotten
I've
these.
had them for a while. They are very, very cool. So a really cool thing, and I want to read this real quick.
Either these are small or I have large hands. I think it's just they're
They're
small.
tiny.
They got to be form-fitting, guys.
Pretty
so,
sweet,
They're
though.
small for me.
all right, so right now, if you go to renegade-gk.com, Renegade Goalkeeping, renegade-gk.com, and use promo code MCSS25OFF. That stands for Mint City Soccer Show. So MCSS25OFF. You'll get 25% off your first order. It's almost Christmas time. So perfect time to go get your goalkeeping gloves. They make some pretty epic gloves. I don't know if you've seen some of them. They're great beer holders, apparently. That's what Steven's doing with his.
St. Patty's Day beer holder.
Yeah. And so the gloves that they have on, of course, are not for sale. Those were promos for the 7-on-7 tournament. But they make some really, really cool stuff. And the owner is a Mint City Collective member. He's an awesome guy. So please support him. I love that he's supporting the show. So yeah, big shout out to them. So yeah, go visit them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
it does
nice,
have
too.
it does have
Thank
like a
you.
little change
Just
for
in case you need to put some coins in there.
This feels like, you know those like novelty like Hulk fists that
Yes.
have the beer thing inside them? Like
Yeah.
the ones that are cool. This is what this feels like, but a way cooler version of that.
Yeah, but you got to use both hands because
Yeah.
otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm going to make a huge mess here.
There you go.
I like
I'll
that.
never let
Like,
us come back.
it has like the finger guards too, so it helps you not, dislocate your fingers, because that used to happen to me all the time. Because when I first started playing
dear God.
soccer, I played as a goalkeeper, and I used to jam my fingers all the time. Actually, this one right here is kind of crooked still.
Yeah, we were also so good that you averaged like 30 saves a match, I think.
Yeah. So when Steve and I first were playing club ball together, we were on a team that was god awful.
Yeah, we were not good.
And so my first I played goalkeeper, and like I would literally save a shot. I would punt the ball down the field. The team would immediately bring it back down and shoot. And like literally I would have like
I'm not kidding you when I said 30 a match. Yeah.
Steven's dad would keep track, and the score would be 12 to nothing, and I would be distraught, and he's like, "Matt, you had 30 saves." And I'm like,
And I'm not talking about these were like, oh, the ball was shot straight at him. I'm talking about full layout upper 90. He was a good keeper, no kidding. I mean, your height definitely helped you.
yeah, for sure. That was definitely the hoary compost of my.
Also, your favorite keeper.
That's right. He was awesome. But yeah,
I will just say this. So Parker, it was his first season of soccer this year, and I got to dust off the old boots and try to assistant coach, which was a treat for those of you who have ever tried to coach 5-year-olds play soccer. But they don't have goalkeepers in U6. However, my son wants to be the goalkeeper, even though they don't have one. And so he's like, I want to play goalkeeper. I'm like, well, Auntie Matt, which is an inside joke.
he calls me Auntie Matt. Yeah.
Auntie Matt, he's a great goalkeeper. He'll give you all the lessons you need. So we'll have to sign him up for some lessons after the show.
So has he figured out that you don't have to run if you play keeper? Is that why he's doing that?
Great point.
No, he
Okay,
loves to
I was
run all
wondering.
over the place, but like it's the craziest thing. And for those of you again who've seen U6 soccer, they all just run around in a big scrum, and then someone breaks towards the goal, and then people just run in front of the goal and just stand there and try to be the goalkeeper even though they're not supposed to be. So you got like 3 kids lined up in this little tiny goal. So no, he's not. He doesn't even realize he doesn't get to run.
Okay, I got you.
So Donny, right now, if you go to renegade-gk.com and type in promo code MCSS25OFF, you can get 25% off on Parker's first pair of gloves.
Well, he could probably get them now and not use them for another 3 seasons because I don't think they have them until U8. But sure.
A heck of a Christmas gift, man.
All about it.
There you go.
Just put them in the backyard with the gloves on, just start firing shots at them.
There you go.
That's how they learn,
Maybe
Even if-
Auntie Matt can get
Auntie
him.
Matt can come over there and just start. Listen, we got a little goal in the backyard. I kicked it one time, snapped the plastic, and I'm like, oh, here we go. Allison's like, you broke it. He just got that. I'm like,
He's about to get another one.
In a second.
A better quality one too.
Yeah, I started playing goalkeeper and then moved to play defense, played stopper.
Sweeper stopper.
Stopper,
Good old
baby.
days.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. You were good at that too. You were kind of fast.
I was fast. That was about all I was. I was fast.
You were fast. You were tenacious. Your skill level could have been a little better, but that's only because you started playing when you were 14, and all of us
I
started when we
never
were like
played
7.
soccer until I got into high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you
I didn't even play my freshman year.
dude, and you still got recruited. Like you got recruited to play college soccer too.
Yeah.
You didn't end up doing it, but people still wanted him. He was good. No kidding. That's the only nice thing I'll say about you all night.
That's true. That's true. I was literally just fast, and my coach would be like, "You see that guy right there? Just guard him." And that's literally all of it do.
You were actually quite good in the air too.
I could jump.
Like,
I could jump.
yeah. You were
fast.
pretty good in
That
the air
was-
for
that
being
was-
5'2".
But
so,
like
you know.
ball skills, now, just
Is there game tape that exists of y'all playing? Because
There used to
I
be,
would
like,
love to see that.
VHS for sure.
Oh, I'll guarantee
There-
you.
Yeah, we
And
can
there
digitize
may-
that and get it on the
Coach
podcast
Perry
somehow.
probably has some.
And Steven at every party we've ever been to will always bring up, "Hey, you remember the time you punched a referee in the face?"
Yeah, you absolutely did that at Charlotte Catholic. I saw it. I don't have it on video.
That's Charlotte Catholic, even better. I love
So
that.
I didn't mean to punch a referee in the face. The referee put me in a headlock,
Well,
and I swung, and I hit the referee in the face.
Why did the referee put you in a headlock?
Exactly.
Whoa, no, like,
let's
what
go-
led
no,
up to
what
it?
led up to this, Matt?
So we're playing Charlotte
Let's
Catholic.
dig into this.
And we hated Charlotte Catholic.
Yeah,
They're the worst. But they were very good. So we're playing at Charlotte Catholic. Our friend David Balfrey just basically leg sweeped a dude and took him down, and a fight ensued.
He also kicked him in the face on the ground, I believe.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
So
yeah,
basically,
yeah.
this is David Balfrey's fault.
Yeah.
So a fight ensues. And there was a guy, and like I said, my coach always told me to mark one person all game. That was my role. So I saw this kid. His name was Travis Agler. I hated him. He's a punk. I hated him. I
I'm
saw
sure
him.
he's nice now.
I'm sure he's
Yeah.
nice. I'm sure
What if he's
very-
listening to this? You're like,
Maybe.
wait a minute.
Travis Agler, if you're out there, two things. Thanks for listening. 2, I challenge you to a one-on-one.
You just dropped first and last name of this guy that played at a different high school against you. Like that's a grudge.
I mean, he was really good. He was really
Okay.
good.
Very good player,
He was very good. But yeah, I hated him. And I saw him. He's like a little punk, man, and like he's pushing people. And I just saw him. I was like, I'm gonna knock the shit out of this dude. And so I went up
You
and
did.
hit him because everybody was fighting, and and then all of a sudden I get put in a headlock, and I'm like, oh, somebody, I've got to defend myself, of course. And then I swung, and it was the referee. Like, why is the referee putting me in a headlock?
And now please tell me you got a red card for punching the referee.
Well, the referee's face when I hit him was hilarious. He was just like, what the shit? And I'm like, why are you grabbing me? And like
I
did,
could see this happening too.
the thing is, like,
happened
I
yesterday.
never fought in school. Like, I'm not a fighter. Like, I don't fight. But this was my senior year, and I'm like, well, okay, I'm never ever playing soccer again. And so I didn't go to the sideline. I did get a red card. I didn't go to the sideline because I thought my coach was gonna like murder me. So I kind of like walked off the field, like way down the way, and then my coach just kind of like slowly walks down towards me. I'm like, okay, he's gonna shoot me, and I'm never gonna play again. And I remember he just looked at me and just kind of grinned. He goes, "Did you have fun?" I was like, "Oh my god!" And then that's all he said to me. And then later, I think we actually had to turn the game film
We did.
in because the referee ended up, I think, got in trouble and like all this stuff and like.
Well, we were worried about you getting kicked out for the whole season too,
Yeah.
because that was what was discussed, and we had to send off the tape for that too to make sure you could play again.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So A, it is on tape. that you
Somewhere.
punching the
Yeah, we
referee
need all this
someplace.
tape.
B, referees aren't supposed to put people
Exactly.
in headlock. Today, that referee would probably be gone,
Yeah.
not you.
That's right. God, I hated Charlotte Catholic. They were the worst.
What school did y'all go to? I don't know.
North Stanley.
Okay.
that was when. Well, yeah, we were actually a good side. We had a lot of players that played club ball.
Yeah, we
at
were-
that
yeah.
point. Yeah, we were a good team. Yeah, hopefully at some point we'll get back to where we were at that point.
Yeah, North
There's a
Stanley's
state
not good right now.
No, but hopefully it'll change at some point.
Yeah, we had a pretty good squads when we were in high school.
Yeah, we have a lot of stories, but we're not going to tell most of them tonight.
Yeah,
I did not think the Travis Agler situation was going to come up tonight. So
I just
really
Yeah,
wanted to be a listener.
Neither does Travis. He's like, holy crap, what the hell?
He's gonna be driving to work this week and be like, "What the hell?"
yeah, his buddies are going to be sending him like, "You need to listen to this."
Hey Travis, some
podcast.
dude's talking crap about you on this podcast.
Said he played soccer against you in high school.
I
I
still have animosity towards this dude, so if he's listening, I'll take you right now.
Now Travis is like 6'5", 275. He's like,
Yeah,
oh my
exactly.
God, beat that little asshole up.
Okay, all right, enough about.
He trains in UFC for on the side. He's just like he's all jacked and ready to go. Let's do
Ultimate
this.
Fighter, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's get back to what we're here
What
to talk
were we
about.
Thanksgiving.
So Corey, I know you and I kind of already did this in a earlier episode, but I want to ask Steven and Donny, like, you know, kind of your favorite moments from the season. Steven, we'll start with you. What kind of sticks out in your mind?
Man, there's a lot of moments this year. I mean, it was a cool season, and yeah, there were a lot of ups and downs. My God, there were a lot of ups and downs. But as far as like probably my favorite time was honestly that last win against Miami. Like
Yeah.
I can say that was like my favorite like win that I can think about. But then as far as like my favorite time, honestly, was when we went to that playoff game in New York. We just got Donny and I and my daughter Anna just on a whim decided to go to the match, and we.
And was that your first away game?
Yeah, that was my first away game.
Like,
Yeah,
what about you, Donny? Was that your kind of you went with me? Never mind. Yeah. That's right.
Kind of forgot the whole wives thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, but
Yeah.
that was just a lot of fun. I mean, we went up and we're never set. It says New York, but we never actually set foot in New York. We stayed in New Jersey the whole time. But we flew up one day, went and watched a match, turned around and flew back the next day. You know, daughter was out of school for 2 days. That was probably the most fun experience, even though the win or the match didn't go the way we wanted it to. But
Everything leading up to it, though, was pretty awesome.
It was
Got to see
cool.
The Statue of Liberty, all that. Cool
yeah,
stuff.
we saw Statue of Liberty. So to see, I had never seen Ellis Island. That was where, I mean, frankly, my dad's side of the family came through and had never seen that. That was almost like a moment for me, to be quite honest with you, just getting to see that, and it was pretty close to the stadium. So yeah, man, that was my favorite time. But that match, that Miami match, and just seeing the passion and seeing like how the players reacted to that victory, how their families, when they were out on the field, reacted to that victory. Seeing crazy stuff like somebody asked Scott Arfield for his jersey, and he takes his jersey off and hands it to some random fan just because he asked. I mean, just cool stuff. And that goes back to what you're talking about, Donny. The accessibility of these players and how they are. It's unheard of. It really is.
Yeah, they've been really good, and I feel like away days are just a way to bond with people.
Yeah,
and it's more about the trip than it is about the game. Most
absolutely.
Of the time.
Yeah.
I think about St. Louis. Like, we got tattoos in St. Louis. Like the game sucked, right? But like the trip was amazing. Nashville was fun. Donnie, we went to Nashville together. Corey, we went to Atlanta, and that was an amazing time. And like,
It was a great time.
you just build those memories with folks, and I think that kind of supersedes some of the wins and losses, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thankful for, is just the community that has kind of built here, and getting to spend time with you guys and getting to know new people. I mean, it's really funny. Like, I never knew Corey or Gussler, never knew Chico. Like, and here I am.
Oh, everyone knows Chico.
Yeah, and like
Now the whole city knows. Heck, the whole MLS knows Chico.
yeah, like I'm riding 7 hours in a truck with Chico up to Cincinnati, and you just build those memories with folks, and it's just a really, 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 really cool thing.
Yeah.
Donnie, what are some of the memories that stick out to you?
It is funny. I've still yet to see an away win, but I've had so much fun on all the away games we've gone to. Went to D.C.
Well, you are superstitious. Maybe you shouldn't go on away game.
I mean, we won, I guess, at Greenville, but that was the U.S. Open Cup, so I guess
That counts.
But it's
that counts.
not an MLS win. So if we're talking
okay.
about this
I gotcha.
superstition, right? Maybe I need to stop going to games on the road. But like, you have so much fun on those trips. Nashville this year was awesome.
Yeah.
We had a blast with our wives, even though up until 30 minutes before the game, I don't think either of us thought they were coming to the game.
They try to finagle and get out of there. Like, well, maybe we should go to the Grand Ole Opry. I'm like, oh, so you're not going to the game now? They're like, oh, I guess we'll go.
Yeah. But they had their sparkly boots on and they went to the game. So, hey, whatever. It is what it is. But I'm going to go with what Steven said, too. like that last home game of the season, you and I got to experience it in the vault as well, which was really cool. Like you're that close to the players. You know, Lionel Messi comes walking out, and I completely forgot both teams came through the middle of the vault to start the game. I was thinking they were going to come off from the other side. I'm like, oh, there's Messi. Like, and you know, Corey, you mentioned this earlier. The coolest thing about Charlotte FC is you go to a home game, and 95% of the fans are wearing the purple, or they're wearing the black, or they're wearing the blue.
Yeah.
They're not there for the other team, which is what's really cool about, you know, call it the Fortress, call it the Bank, whatever. That game was not the same. Like that felt like a typical Panthers Sunday where people were all around us cheering, you know, for Messi and whatnot. And, you know, the group of us that were sitting together in the vault were like, no, screw that. Like Charlotte FC. And so, you know, for them to rise above to be the first team to beat him during the MLS season, if I correct on that, I think.
That's right. You're right.
And it was also the first time that he'd play on turf that everyone swore he wasn't going to do.
Right.
So, I mean, it was just, and to make the playoffs because of it. I mean, it was like kind of the perfect storm.
Yeah, it was one of their best games of the whole entire season.
Yep.
It was a special night. They played amazingly. And I will say it was a weird dynamic with the fans. I almost kind of liked it though, because there were a lot of Miami fans, or let me rephrase. There were Messi fans, right?
Yes.
And I kind of like that in a way, because I think it will bring more fans to Charlotte.
I agree.
And they got to see Charlotte win.
Right.
And it was impressive. Like I said, it's one of the best games that they played. Yuri played amazing. Like it was one of my favorite moments, because I think we could have shrunk and got our asses kicked, but we showed up. We played tough. I think for once we had a good game plan going in, and it showed. So that was one of my favorite moments. And make no mistake, getting to see Messi play is always great. I booed him the whole time.
Yep. I could attest.
I love that he got booed. Like I really like.
I booed him so much, but it was like a respect boo. You know, it was great to watch him play. And watching him play is amazing, because you know he's walking around and you don't think anything's happening, and you just see him. You're like, oh my God, he's about to get open. He's about to get open, and sure enough. Or he gets like one touch, and it's like this brilliant pass that no one can do. Yeah. But it was really cool to you have all these Messi fans behind us, Donny, and you know we could turn around to them like, shut up, you know, and they're cheering for him, and that was cool. But that was the first time that it seemed like it was pretty close. It wasn't 50-50. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it was close. But it was a special night. I wish they could have carried that over into the actual playing game, but
I don't know if y'all agree with this. I feel like my feeling about the people who were wearing the Messi jerseys was not that they were anti-Charlotte FC, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's not it went it was good natured. At least the ones around me where I was thinking they were cheering for Messi, we were cheering for Charlotte, but it was kind of good natured. When Charlotte won, I don't think they were that mad about it. You know, or when the Messi goal was called offsides, I made a big. Just thinking about that in my section, it was all good natured.
Yeah.
So I think my hope is kind of what you're saying is that a lot of those people came out because of him, and then they'll be like, that was kind of a lot of fun. And so next year they'll come out to other Charlotte FC matches and be a Charlotte FC fan. They'll still cheer for Messi above anything else. That's fine. That doesn't bother me any. Yeah. But they'll come out to more matches and become more of a fan, and that's the best case scenario.
They weren't Inter Miami fans.
No.
Right. Yeah.
They were no mistake. Yeah. Those jerseys that they all had on, they just took the tags off.
Yeah.
Literally as they were.
Or brought outside the stadium.
We were literally standing out front of the entrance near the vault, and the people are handing their jerseys to them and snapping the tags off and putting them on, and they're of course then they're putting it on their story on Instagram or X, and it's that jersey's only going to see one wearing, and then that's it because the season's over. So. Yeah.
I mean, it was a cool introduction, though. I mean, to Charlotte FC.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it'll mean they'll keep coming back, and I mean, it'll keep the stadium full.
Yeah, because I mean, it's a lot of kids, right?
Yeah,
with those jerseys, and it could be their first introduction to Charlotte FC. And what I have found, and even talking to you guys, maybe you haven't followed soccer in a while, but you go to that first game and it was 74,000 people, and even this year the first game was like 69, and the Miami game, like if you go to those games, you're like, holy crap, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And you build your fan base that way. So I think it was good. Like there was a lot of people on social media that were like, oh, Messi's here and blah blah blah. I'm like, I think this is a good thing.
Yeah, I do too.
And the fact that we won, I think, made it even better.
Yeah.
But let me tell you this. I'm digging this.
This is good.
It's a good
this
one.
Birdsong
I'm
beer.
almost done. I wish I had another.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of drank this kind of fast. Let's transition to some of the things that you would like to see for next season. I have a lot of thoughts, but I'm going to let you guys talk. Corey, I'm going to start with you.
Ooh. Okay.
What would you like to see next season?
There's a lot of obvious answers I can give. I think overall what I'd like to see is just some consistency with the team, around the team. Just like this sounds really boring, but like I'll try to explain a little bit, but like a normal consistent season. 'Cause I mean, just like this team has been through so much. I mean, the first season had all of its mess. You fire a coach mid-season of your first ever season and have to try to bounce back from that, almost make the playoffs. Then you have all the off-season stuff that happened before this season ever started, which felt like it was going to be the stepping stone season.
Right.
It wasn't. We didn't know what lineup was going to be throughout there each week. We didn't know where players are going to play. We didn't know who was going to play. We didn't know if people were available or if they were going to be I almost said under arrest, but I'll just say it, under arrest, or like it's just like there was just so much that was like it was just a mess. It felt like both seasons in different ways has been kind of like what's going to happen now. And so what I would love to see beyond a lot of improved players on certain positions and things like that is really just like let's like settle it down, right the ship, and get good pieces in place and kind of be able to come into a match and know like here's the starting 11, here are our best players, this is where they're going to play, this is how we're going to play, and this is how our coach likes to do it, and this is how we're going to approach matches, and just like kind of have that level of consistency that we can build upon. Because I think right now the first 2 years have just been so all over the map for different various reasons on the field and off that it's been a wild ride.
You want players to actually play the position
I mean,
they're meant
yeah,
to play?
most
Wow.
of the time at least.
What a
I mean,
concept.
just
Wow.
occasionally.
Novel.
I don't know.
Or
I know. I
heard
said
it
it's
here.
crazy. I know.
Or when they score a goal, you don't sit them for 3 games after that.
Yeah.
Because,
You know,
oh yeah,
Or the
let's
rest
reward
of the
that.
season.
Yeah.
Or the
Like,
rest of the
yeah.
season. Is
Yeah.
he still on the team? I don't know.
I don't know. Last time he played, he scored two goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm
Let's-
just going.
yeah.
Consistency, I think,
Yeah.
is huge. I would love to see as we move forward a more attacking style of soccer. And I was talking to one of my friends
Instead
yesterday.
of dicking around with the ball in the back.
Yeah, it's funny. One of the things I thought a lot about is like what to call this, but yes, dicking around in the back is not. I never got that. I'm like, why in the hell are we just working the ball around our back line?
Dicking
Like,
around with it, man. I hate it.
And then I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna give a clean of the ball and let him just blast it up the field
That's
or
right.
out of bounds
Out
or
of
wherever.
bounds.
So,
Usually out of bounds.
but the thing is like if you're not playing that, you don't put him in that position in the first place. So what I was going to say is I was calling it, and I was talking with my friend last night about this. It was called possession with purpose. So I like possession soccer. I think that's great. The other team can't score if they don't have the ball, but there has to be purpose.
Yep.
There has to be more attacking. There has to be if we're going to play with one player up top, we have to make sure that player can hold the ball up and let the midfield come back, catch up. If we're not going to, then play 2 up top. If that's what we're going to do.
Right.
It's just more consistency with the players, more rewards for players who are playing well and not sitting them when they are playing well, which I never really got. Also, just the front office and the manager actually working together. But I feel like the front office was doing one thing and they were bringing in a certain type of player to fit a role, and then the manager we had in place. He just didn't want to play him for whatever reason. It's like they had 2 different styles of soccer. So, I think there's a lot of opportunities. I'm going to tell you the truth. The young city, good fan base, good stadium, honestly, pretty darn good team. I think there's a really big opportunity to bring a big manager in here that could make a difference right off the bat. Yeah. So I think it will be attractive.
That's right.
Yeah,
Donny, what do you think?
It's a dick statement to end with, because I was like, the first thing I thought was big splash higher.
Yeah.
I think we're on the cusp. Like, we're only a couple players, I think, away. If we shore up that back line, play people on the back line that actually are meant to be in that position instead of third-round midfielders.
What a novel thought.
I'd love to see Privet get to play his actual position next year. But,
Yeah.
I mean, again, there's a lot of opportunity here. I definitely agree with that. You get a coach in here, also energize that fan base. And there's a lot of names out there. You mentioned it on the last podcast, some of the options that are out there. And to what you were saying, you and I talked about this a bunch when we were in New Jersey. Patrick Agyemang needs to play.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
The guy, first of all, he can play with his back to the goal.
Yep.
Just like Danny Rios did when he was here. And we didn't have that this year, except for when he was in. And when he was in, that's what he did. Yep. And so if you're going to play, if Enzo is still going to be here, who knows? I know how much excitement the two of you have for him on the other side of the table.
That's a lot of what we talk about.
Yeah.
We're going to leave that alone right now.
But if he is still here, I think you need to put Patrick up top with him.
Yeah. Now, last episode, Vaughn did kind of lay out a scenario of how Enzo could work a little better into this team. But
Well, and I think if you put a guy up top like Patrick with Enzo, I think that could work.
Yeah, you have to switch formations, I believe.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Or playing with purpose, Stephen. Our wingers have to get the ball into Enzo to his feet so he can run onto the ball. You can get him in good positions, but
the problem is whenever we're playing the way we were is that the defense is already set. Like there's no transition play. Like the opposing defense is already set by the time we work the ball around 45 times. You can't play that ball into space and let Enzo run onto it. So that's where the purpose comes in.
If they press us like they did at Red Bulls, like we were dicking around with the ball in the back, and then they just all of a sudden pressed, and now all of a sudden we're all the way in the back third.
Yeah.
I don't understand how every team didn't do that to us all season.
Yeah,
that was the key. That was all you had to do. Just press us.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to lose the ball in your defensive third. I don't know, maybe lose it in your middle third or attacking third. Yeah. But I felt like a lot of our goals came off of really bad giveaways within our back line. Yeah. And it's because of the style. It's how they were coached and told to play.
I think the coach gave them direction. It's not about scoring. It's about how you do it, how you look, and how we're going to play, and we're going to play possession, and we're going to try to play like Manchester City and all this nonsense. And I think sometimes you have to trust your players to play the positions that they naturally play and let them go out there and make plays. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, like we saw, Patrick scoring against Red Bull, that was just one-on-one tenacious play.
Just bulldoze two guys.
And stayed on his feet. He could have gone down and probably wouldn't have drawn the foul.
Yeah. You gotta let your players get out there and get after it and put them in good positions. Mm-hmm. Don't play them out of position. Don't put added stress on your team. And we've talked about this ad nauseum, especially at the beginning of the season when we're having all the issues. We had Anton and we had Andre and Nuno situation. You add another layer of complexity, like playing people out of position, constantly rotating. Sometimes you just got to let your guys here's the starters. Every week, go get it, make some plays. That's why you bring these folks in. And I think we just had a coach that was in his own head and was super stubborn and wouldn't change. You had someone like Scott Arfield, who was brought on to the team to score goals. And then sometimes you're making him play more defensively or, not playing him, which makes absolutely no sense. So I'm thankful that we've moved on and there's brighter days ahead.
That's another one that I was thinking, Scott should be out there. I mean, they don't call him Mr. Saturday Night to sit on the bench or not come into games until the 85th minute and try to do something in 5 minutes. Yeah. But I will add one other thing that is completely off topic of improvements. So I was thinking about from the supporter section. So I think for those of you who don't know, I don't have season tickets and I sit everywhere in the stadium. I've been all the way up top. I've been at the vault. I've been in the supporter section with my shirt off with Jeff and Trey. I've done it all. I really hope that we work.
They always make you get naked.
That is weird. I'm like,
those guys always.
It's so weird. I'm like,
it's very strange.
All right. I'm like, and there's a picture online to show that one. I'm like, always. What am I doing taking my shirt off?
If you're hanging out with them,
you
are going to be half nude.
It's weird, but I hope that we work with DJ Fannie Mae and just giving the fans an opportunity to really get that supporter section going before a game,
Right.
at halftime. I love her to death. I think there's so much house music being played when the supporters first get into the stadium.
Exactly. Yeah.
At coming out of halftime, like I want us to feel like a European stadium where the entire stadium is chanting the same thing, because it's an eerily cool feeling when that happens. But right now, you know, it just doesn't happen. And sitting in different sections of the stadium, you got the supporters doing their chant. You've got the other half of the stadium who can't hear the supporters, whether it's because of the drums or whatever. It gets drowned out. So then they start doing the Charlotte clap, clap, FC clap, clap. Mm-hmm. So you got two different things going on where I just would love to hear the whole stadium doing a chant together, because I just think that just brings that atmosphere up too.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it happened during maybe the Miami game, where I think the supporter section is starting to kind of catch on, like, and listen to the rest of the stadium. It is difficult, but I agree about the house music. I think what needs to happen is, I like the music, but when the supporter section, the main section, gets into the stadium, it should be cut off, and then let those guys drums and start singing. And I think that would help build up the rest of the stadium. Let's take a break here, and we'll come back with more talk with Donny, Stephen, and Corey. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Stephen, people think that I have been not telling the truth about my Ben Olsen story.
Which one?
So I told the story about meeting Ben Olsen and asking him, because I've made no bones about it, I wanted Ben Olsen to be our coach. Mm-hmm. But I tell the story about asking him for his jersey and shorts, cleats.
And
you were actually there.
And shin guards.
I literally asked him
and
for
his training top.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything that he had. His socks, I think. Yeah, that true story. Yeah. Absolute true story. We were at Wake Forest.
That's right.
Yep, we went. Was it two of us and Graham? I think one of our good friends.
Graham, yeah.
Balfour might have been there, but I know Graham was definitely there because his mom drove. That was before we had licenses, I think.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And
that would've been
somehow
like
we ended up on the field after the match. I don't know how that happened. I think we just walked on because that's us. Yeah. Like, and next thing you know, Matt's basically disrobing Ben Olsen, trying to get clothing off him. I mean, I want to make it weird. Let's make it weird.
Let's make it super weird. I always liked Ben as a player. When he was at Virginia, he was scrappy, great, and I was like, I really want his jersey. And I tried, and he was like, I can't give you this shit.
He thought about it for a second, though. I think he thought about his warm-up top. He was like, coach will kill me if I give you this.
The only reason why I bring up the Ben Olsen story is, one, Stephen can verify the story.
I was there. Right beside him.
I have many questions to this. So wait. So if I heard this correctly, he asked for his jersey, and he said no, and then you decided, well, maybe your shorts are okay?
I just was trying every item I could.
Now, the irony to all
he didn't
this,
ask for underwear, I will say that.
Well, that's
didn't
good.
Ask for that.
But, I don't remember what game we were watching, all of us together, when one of the fans asked for Kalina's shorts, and he just was like, he just took them off. So you just asked the wrong person, because Kalina would have given me his shorts.
Kalina just likes walking around pretty much naked, basically, I think, So it's cool, whatever.
Yeah. And I will say, Kalina is absolutely amazing with fans.
He is.
Incredible.
Giving away jerseys,
signing
gloves,
every autograph.
Staying around. He's usually the first to go over and see fans. I've really appreciated about him. But the reason why I bring up Ben Olsen is coach. We have a coaching vacancy. We've talked about that a little bit, right? Do you guys have a preference in coach? I believe, and I can't remember the timing, I believe Ben Olsen's coach at Virginia was maybe Bruce Arena at that time.
Yes.
I can't remember.
Yes, he was.
And Bruce Arena has been linked to us as one of the coaches. But I'd like to know, do you guys have a preference? Stephen, I'll start with you. Do you have a preference? And maybe if you can't give me a name, just like a style.
I don't really have a preference because I'm not as educated with the coaches that are available out there. Style-wise, I think we need to have someone that, I mean, we talked about a possession with purpose. I like possession. I like a hard-nosed style, soccer. I like attacking style. Somebody that's not afraid to use our offense as a little bit of defense sometimes too, because sometimes your offense is your best defense. When you're pressing and they can't get across midfield, why are we going to go park the bus at the end of the match whenever we're up 2-0? And then give them that opportunity. So somebody that's played that plays a lot more direct with a lot more purpose is my main. I would just say that's who I would want. As far as who, I don't know who that is. I have no preference if they're American, if they're from Europe, where they come from. I don't care as long as they're just the right person. I also really want somebody that can appreciate the fan base. I don't feel like the last coach appreciated the fan base whatsoever. Like we walked, after the game in New York, the players obviously were disappointed, but they all gave us a salute after the match, and Latanzio walked straight into the locker room. How does that make you feel when you spend thousands of dollars and your time and the leader of the team, literally the leader of the team, does that? How does that make your players feel? I also think somebody that can keep that locker room. Somebody that can really keep that locker room and have them play with passion and not have them wondering day by day who the heck's going to play left back when you're a center mid. So.
Can I just say the leader of our team did bring them over there, and that was Ashley Westwood.
Yeah.
I consider him to be more of a leader of the team than Latanzio.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I think I think a lot of our veterans on that Miami match really led that team. Yeah. I mean, during the match, before the match, and everything, they really wanted. I'm sorry, I can't put that on Latanzio because I just don't think he was the leader for our team. So
I agree. I think Gussler said the same thing last episode. He was very disappointed in that. Like, I get it. You're on the hot seat. Things have not been going well. You lost, but you need to come thank the fans. And yes, you might get some things said to you, but I mean, if you're going to be a manager, you have to have thick skin. Yeah. So I was disappointed in that, but hey, he's no longer here, and we're moving forward. But you mentioned Ashley Westwood. I think our new signings during the summer have been incredible.
I do too.
Absolutely. I think Westwood was perfect for this team, especially at that time. We needed some more professionalism in this team. We needed a veteran. We needed someone who could solidify that midfield. Brant was having to do a lot of work. I think Westwood came in and helped a lot with that. Plus, you get some quality with the ball at your feet with him too. Arfield, we've talked about him, a really great pickup, and then Yuri, my man. I've really enjoyed him. I think the front office did an excellent job with those signings.
Can I throw in another one too? Brecht. I'm going to throw in Brecht. I'm going to throw in Justin Miram too. Justin Miram came in and immediately produced, right off the bat. And then he produced a couple matches and then they set him for a while. But there were some really good signings this year.
Yeah,
sure. And he was such a random selection too. It was like it was trying to get rid of the questionable players that had their little issues. And I mean, just a blessing in disguise that was, because he, like you say, he came in, and he also brought that veteran presence. But the team just seemed to play with more confidence when he was on the pitch, and then all of a sudden we didn't see him again until the Red Bulls.
He was too good. Too good.
I mean, there's been some players like I think of Brandon Cambridge. I think of Hamady Diop. I mean, I know Diop got injured, but there was that Atlanta game where he was subbed on. He comes in as a sub and then gets subbed off, and then you just don't see him again.
Yeah.
And I get okay, maybe you sub him on, maybe he didn't do what you wanted, but he's a young player. Yeah. You don't just blackball him. Yeah. You're supposed to develop, and Latanzio is supposed to be a quote unquote player coach. And so, that's kind of your area, man. Like, you got a young player.
And where did Guzman go?
Well,
is that another story? Yeah.
We play Andrew. Let me say this, Andrew. I got to give props to Andrew Privet.
Yeah.
He Absolutely. Was asked a ton. He's drafted, third round?
Third round. Yeah.
And then is asked to be a starter center back.
Yeah.
Not his position. asked to
does
do
pretty well.
Yeah.
honestly,
I
for
mean,
what it is.
honestly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like again, we talked about this earlier. Like you're adding a layer of complexity that you don't need.
Yeah.
But kudos to Andrew. I hope he gets paid this coming season. Like I hope he gets a new contract.
Yeah.
Hats off to him. But again, like Guzman, he's on the bench. He's a natural center back. He had the injury, so I don't know how much that came into play. But Latanzio prefers someone who could play with the ball with their feet, move into the middle, and, pinch in and play horrible defense and, get scored on the most in MLS. It makes no sense, but it is what it is.
But hold on, though. And we talked about this after the Miami game. Like, Privet's, annual salary was, the equivalent of,
what Messi makes in 10 minutes.
in 5-10 minutes on the pitch. The fact that it's...
Yeah,
I just, like I said earlier, I'd love to see him get to play his actual position next year because I think he could do some great things as well.
He's got some quality, man.
does.
He's good with the ball with his feet and, positionally. He got called out some, but again, he's playing a position he never plays. But, I think he has a good head on his shoulders and, he understands the game and can see the field really well. But, yeah, he needs to play in his natural position. Before I forget, Corey, coaching. Do you have a preference?
I don't have a name, but I think this is something we've talked about, or at least y'all have talked about in previous episodes. I think what I want out of a new coach is MLS experience. I want someone who knows this league really well and knows how to play in this league and knows how to win this league. And then what you were saying earlier, I want a splashy name. I want it to be someone that will get fans excited, maybe even get people who are not big fans but know that name excited about it.
Like a Landon Donovan, maybe?
Yeah, let's talk. I mean, what would you think about Landon Donovan? Do you think he's has enough experience?
That's my worry. I mean, that'd be my main concern. Because I think that to me, the more important thing to me, at least right now, is that MLS experience. If I had to pick one of the two things, is I want the MLS experience. I feel like that's something that we've talked about that this team has lacked and and really kind of taken for granted playing in MLS in some ways. So I think I want somebody who knows this league really well and knows how to play well in this league. And after that, I think I'd want to be a name that people know and get excited about. And you also said it before, charismatic. I mean, someone that the fans are excited about. They want to see what he says in press conferences, or they're just kind of that coach that people can rally around a little bit.
I want to throw this out. I really don't want somebody that overcoaches on the sideline either. I feel like we've had that, and we're kind of done with that. At some point, you got to be a manager. You take your players, you put them on the field where you want.
To be too clever.
Yeah, and then let them do their thing. At that point, these are grown men that know how to play. Put them in their spot, let them do their thing. Maybe do little tactical changes, but don't just sit there on the sideline and be screaming at them like they're 7-year-olds out there. They know what they're doing. These players can play. So somebody like that too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Landon Donovan, maybe he doesn't have the coaching pedigree, but he checks all the other boxes that you mentioned. If they're not going to go MLS experience, I know that he was linked to the team. Top been to the story about it. It's been talked about before. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I mean, he's got the player pedigree. He knows. We've got a lot. I mean, here's the thing. We've got a lot of players on this team that aren't MLS players. We've got a lot of European players that feel like he's got that knowledge and experience to coach them, or at least know what to expect from them. But I think that, I'm good with what everyone said pretty much. But those were two names that I know you had mentioned Landon on a previous episode. But
yeah, I think it would be fun. The experience, to your point, Corey, it kind of concerns me. Same with John Harkes. That name's been thrown out too. Savarese, I think for me would be a good selection. Ole would be a fun one. I watched the Beckham documentary last night. I watched the whole thing, by the way, in one setting, and he was in that. And of course, he came and visited, and everybody made a big deal about that. I think he went to DC United too. DC United, I think, just changed GMs, by the way, today, I think. So it's going to be interesting. I feel like it's it's the 20th of November when we're recording. I think we'll probably see a new manager in the next 3 weeks or so. We need to get them in to get ahead of the draft and all that stuff. It's going to be a fun, interesting offseason. because we also have some players that could be possibly moving on, and that's going to be our next segue. I know Steven has some pretty
strong feelings.
Yeah.
I never. Not me.
So let's talk about our DPs.
Okay.
Swiderski, Uzwiak, Enzo Capetti.
Mm-hmm.
If you were in charge, what would you do with the DPs? What would you do?
I definitely would try to keep Carroll. I think that out of the 3 DPs, he is by far the best of the bunch. I mean, that goes without saying, honestly. I would try to find a way to move Capetti somewhere.
Anywhere.
I don't believe it.
I
Steven,
might.
don't be tame on the show. Like you should hear Steven at the games.
You told me I can't make a fool of you. Not admit myself.
You always make a fool of me.
All right, let's get the hell rid of Capetti for God's sakes, please. Jesus Christ, dude.
This is more what he says.
Oh
in the
my
game.
God,
yeah.
He's a freaking cancer. So I'm just gonna say it straight up. I'm sorry. I'm sure he's a nice guy off the field. I'm sure he's a good family man. Blah blah blah. That's great, but on the pitch, he's a cancer. I'm sorry. The stuff that he does on the field, it takes energy and momentum out of the team. He'll argue with the referee for 5 minutes after a call that he didn't get. That's gone now. Play. Yeah. He goes down at the wrong times. He makes the wrong foul at the wrong. There's just a lot of things. And I'm sure that I think that if we were playing a different style of soccer or had a different lineup per se, or not lineup formation, that maybe he could do well. So. He did a couple things well. I will say his work rate has always been really good. I'll give him that. The dude works his butt off. So I will give him that. But I want him gone. Jozwiak, I can't say his name properly.
I don't think anybody
did I do
can.
okay there?
Say it again. Say it again.
Uzwiak.
Yeah. Did that sound? No, that didn't sound good. I don't know. Uzwiak.
We learned that earlier this year, the U.S. Open Cup.
He had some good moments this season, but I don't think he's a DP. He should not have that DP designation. So I would like to see if we can do something with him too. I do think I want to say this about Carroll. I think Carroll wants to leave. I mean, he's talked a lot about that, and I'm of the opinion that if a player really wants to leave that badly, let him leave. Figure out how to get your value out of him. Yeah. I think honestly, we really should have 3 new DPs. My concern is we might end up with 1 or 2, but I think we should have 3 new ones personally.
Yeah, I think we can get, if you're looking at this from a business perspective, you get your money from Swiderski.
Yep.
He wants to leave.
Yeah.
So you take that money, you try to maybe move Uzwiak.
Get a little bit out of him.
Try to get a little bit out of him.
And then pay somebody to take Capetti.
Well,
you told me to tell it,
That's true. And look, there could be some new rule changes where we might get a 4th DP. So, that's what I would do. I would move. Trust me, I would like to keep Swiderski, but he's made it very clear what he wants to do, and you can get money for him. Yeah. So that's business wise, that's exactly what you should do.
I mean, he's playing into up until him getting sick at halftime for their qualifier the other day. He's playing very well right now, not only here but for Poland.
Sure.
I think like you say, he capitalized on the market. Yeah. It sucks because he was the first name I had on a jersey here, but we're getting new jerseys next year anyway, so it's not that big a deal. And I still will always have my autographed Poland kit from the first year.
That's right.
But I mean, if we could buy down Camille. That would be. I mean, if you're gonna, but that would be the only way I would keep him if you could buy him down.
I mean, we could definitely buy him down, but I
don't know that he's still. We have so many players that are all kind of in that similar position. I think you kind of get rid of. You can get rid of that. Kind of to Steven's point, I see 3 new, at minimum 2 new DPs. But I mean, if we're lucky enough to be like Inter Miami and just have however many DPs you want, and we'll just call them whatever we want to call them. We could have our own little, mini Barcelona as well. But no, I think we're going to see a lot of. Yeah. That's the thing that's a little scary, right? So we watched the first season. We did what we did. We come into our second season, and literally half of the lineup is completely new people. now we're going to go into season 3. Kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier, Corey, with the consistency. We're going to lose a bunch again. Like they're just, that's going to happen. Not even just the DPs. Like at some point or another, poor Harrison should be able to just do what he wants to do. And I think they've made a lot of names.
He's gone.
Yeah. So we're going to lose a good chunk of that back line. Jan's gone as well.
Jan's gone.
We don't know everything else that's going on with some of the defenders back there. Carujo, I believe he's still on the team.
He's good. I mean, we'll see what the new manager wants to do.
Bill Tuiloma, I mean, I've said this before. He came into an impossible situation this year.
Had a horrible season.
Right.
I was excited about him coming in, but he just maybe next year will be better. But this year has not done
you
well.
bring him in last minute.
Yeah.
Like he came in real late. He had no time to practice with this team.
Yeah.
Like you, I was excited about that hire. Yeah. He did not play well to start the season. Had a lot of things go against him.
Yeah.
And he was one that Latanzio sat down real quickly, and we never saw again. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's playing for New Zealand, in international matches. Yeah. I hope he gets a shot next year with, maybe it's just the right coach. And I think you've talked with Portland's coach possibly being an option as well. Yeah. He's a pretty damn good player, I think, still. So, yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Steven, I agree with you almost everything you said about Capetti. I'm with you. I'm not, but I'm also not quite on Vaughn's level of like he'll be okay, give him another chance from last week. If you've listened to that, I'm somewhere in the middle. Like I think he was really hard to watch this year. I think his energy on the field took the team in the wrong direction a lot of times, and it affected the team. It affected his play. It affected how we were. How we were refereed. Like I think it affected a lot of things. I am willing, only because I don't think obviously they're going to get any money for him.
Yeah.
So I just expect him to be around next year. I'm hoping that having a full off season here and being with another coach, we can see something a little bit different from him.
Yeah, I mean
like that's me being a super optimist. I understand that, but like if I thought we could get something for him, I'd say sell him in a heartbeat. I don't know, and you, Matt, you look like you think you might can get something for him. I don't know. I wonder if we actually can, but if we can, like I think there is a chance for him to be put into the right system with the right coach and the right situation where we could see something totally different out of Capetti.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I do too. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the thing. Like, we're critical. I mean, we've been critical of coaches, but then at the end of the day, we want them to do well. But we're trying to be as honest as we can be.
Yeah.
I hope that he does well if he stays. I want him to score 20 goals like he has before at his former club. So, I just think it's going to be a different system. I think he's got to get used to this league fast. Yes. I mean, even during the season, I mean, you saw some of our own players kind of like, hey, you gotta shut up, man. Like I saw Westwood doing that a lot. I'm like, dude, you gotta stop.
Well, it's weird when that Miami game, we're sitting in the vault, and it was one of the few games all season where he didn't act like that. Yeah. And we had a fan sitting next to us who's like, what's wrong with Enzo? Why is he playing like that? And we're like, this is the best he's done all season. Yeah. Let him be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the next game against Red Bulls, he's flopping
he was back to his normal antics.
5 minutes worrying about an offside call.
He probably should have gotten red card. He should have gotten a second yellow, like 5 minutes after the first. Yeah.
One of the things too, we've talked about coaches, and we've moved on from Latanzio, but a lot of people called for Zoran's head too, and I want to say this: I think it's the worst time to fire Zoran, and here's why. I think what he did what most people, what players and front office folks do when they come into this league. They underestimate MLS. They don't understand the league. They don't understand the player profile. I think I wouldn't fire Zoran at all because I'm pretty sure he's going to have learned his lessons. And scouting team too. I think they're going to be able to scout better now that they've had time to learn the league, know the player profile. I'm really excited about what we're going to do next because we've already saw Westwood, Arfield, Brecht, Yuri, Like, those have been really good signings. I'm excited about what we're going to bring in next. I'm excited about what Zorn can do now. I think it'd be the worst time to get rid of him. And I'm excited to see who this next coach is going to be. But I do think it needs to be someone that is familiar with the league, that knows the players and how the league is ran. But I think, kind of going back to Enzo, I think he just struggled. He comes from a league where it's okay to exaggerate and roll around a little bit and argue with the referees, and I think it's just such a huge learning curve for players when they come here. They think they know, they think it's like every other league, but with the travel and with the refereeing and just the way the physicality of this league, I think everybody struggles with it. And that, like I said, front office, players, I think. So I'm excited going into year 3 now. And we've talked about this, Corey. I think we're a year behind.
Yeah.
We should have finished 6th this year. Yeah. That's my personal take. I think we were good enough to finish 6th. But next year we need to finish at least that. But I'm excited. But before I forget, I met a fan this weekend. So I want to give big. We've got.
Did you give him a sticker review?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
No. I want to give a shout out to Weston. I met him at Light the Night. He was just like, "Oh my God, I love the show. I listened to the show." I'm like, "Well, you're the only one." So before I forget, I've got a note here. I just wanted to say shout out to him. Appreciate you listening to the show. It was really cool to meet him. Yeah, met him at Light the Night, so I just wanted to say that. And Light the Night was awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
So Mint City Collective raised over $25,000.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Which is
congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Which it was pretty incredible from a small little supporter group. All the Charlotte FC groups raised a little over 30,000. And it's just really cool to see. We've mentioned David Balfrey on, that's we mentioned him on the show already, and he's a good friend of mine, and that's how
He's more like a brother, honestly.
We all grew up together.
We claim him sometimes.
Yeah, and he had Hodgkin's lymphoma and was able to have a blood transfusion and bone marrow.
Transplant.
Yeah, and I'm like, that sounds all made up, but he's healthy and everything. So that's how I kind of got into it, and that's why I've been pushing it on social media and everything like that. And the event was amazing. I met Muggsy Bogues.
You're taller than Muggsy.
I am taller than Muggsy Bogues.
Shocking.
I could not.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. And so I had a poster of Muggsy Bogues in my house. He was like one of my favorite, because he's short like me.
Sure.
And I saw him. I was like, oh my God, it's Muggsy Bogues. And I went to him like, holy crap, I'm taller than Muggsy Bogues. But Muggsy Bogues can dunk. I can't.
Dunk an Oreo cookie.
I can dunk
Did you give him a sticker?
No, I did not. But Muggsy was so nice, and he took photos with so many people. So it was a really, really cool event. We had a lot of folks from Mint City come out. Some southbound folks were there. So really cool event. It's something that we're going to do every year. But I appreciate everybody donating. $25,000 is pretty cool from a little.
It's a lot of water balloons at Matt Chantry.
Big shout out to Matt Chantry for doing that at the tailgate, getting water balloons thrown at him. But we had a lot of folks donating stuff to raise funds, and it was just really, really, really cool to see. And we hope we can do more next year. So
that donation of the game worn Anton jersey was awesome.
Yeah, so a little story about
incredible.
That. So I had somebody reach out, and it was his son, his young son, that was his jersey, that he gave that up to donate, and it's pretty special, and went for a lot of money. So I appreciate that. But every year we have people giving stuff, donating stuff. It's just a really, really cool thing to see, and if you've never been to Light the Night, you should come, because it's pretty special. Kevin Hofer, my buddy, Donny, he was there, and I got to learn about his grandpa and everything like that. And we have a member that is a cancer survivor, and it was really cool to see him kind of it's not a celebration, but like
Yeah.
be a survivor and everything like that. I don't want to say his name. I don't know if he'd be comfortable with me saying his name, but anyway, it was an amazing turnout. So yeah, big shout out to Weston, and yeah, Light the Night was amazing. But
I don't even know if we could do this, but we could talk about it afterwards. So this jersey that I'm wearing was given to me by the team. I made a comment on social media excuse me, earlier in the season. I was like, whoever scores the first, whoever scores the goal, it was, I think, Orlando. I think they were playing. It was right before we were going to wear these for the first time. I'm like, I'll get their name on the back of my jersey, on my, my crown jewel kit. And Kerwin Vargas scored the goal. I said I was going to do it, and I get text message from Sean the Monday before that game, and he's like, hey, can you make it down to the team store? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, finally got the jersey, and it took forever for me to get the jersey, but it finally got it in. He's like, what size are you, just in case your jersey doesn't make it in time? And I told him, and I wasn't thinking anything of it. And he's like, meet me down at the team store at like 4:30 on a Monday. So I come down to the store. Sean comes walking up with Joe LeBou and Nezzy, and they're like, yeah, we heard what you did. We just won the game, Victory Monday. We got a jersey for you made up with Kerwin. So this has kind of been my lucky jersey all year, but they said to take that jersey and give it forward. So whether we do it, next year with someone, or for the kid who did that with the Anton jersey, I'd like to get a name. Lost my voice in Baltimore this weekend. I apologize. I'm not going through puberty at 42. But get a name and number on the back of it and give it to him on our behalf, for what he did. I mean, that went up for $700.
It went for $700. I was stunned. I was like, and I even was like, are you sure you want to do that? But like,
there's still good in this world.
Yeah.
I love to hear stories like that.
Just the donations that we got, the people that were involved, and like I said, just the event in general. There's so many big corporations. I'm looking around, I'm like, there's Ally, there's Bank of America, there's Coca-Cola, and there's a little old Mint City Collective right there. We got our own little tent and hanging out. Sir Minty was there, so we got our photo with him. So it was a good time. All right, guys, we're kind of wrapping up. Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't know. If we were going to talk about anything, I think it's just relationships, and like you were talking about with the jersey, like the club doing that. Like it's just so freaking cool. Like what the club does and who they are and who they have involved. And I mean, granted, yes, do we want to win matches? Of course we want to win matches. I mean, that's what it's all about. But then at the same time, like it's just different. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. Like with the families and seeing people and just that like mind, and also being a Panthers fan who grew up in North Carolina, to go to a stadium and have essentially everybody cheering for the same team is so nice. Like I was at the Dallas game yesterday, it was not like that. Like it's a different atmosphere. The whole city, or not the whole city, but the people who follow soccer at all have adopted this team. I mean, I was telling a friend last night, I said, I was sitting at a restaurant, and I had just gone for lunch by myself one day, and was just kind of sitting there, and I hear these guys with a very strong Southern accent behind me, and that's weird for me to say, but very much stronger. It sounds like it. But I'm sitting there having lunch, and I hear this guy say, "Man," he goes, "I love my Panthers, but have you been to one of those soccer games yet?" And that was exactly how he sounded. And I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "No, I hadn't gone." He goes, "Man, you got to go. Like, that's the most fun I've ever, like, at any sporting event." I mean, it's just this country guy talking about going, and I'm like, man, that guy doesn't like soccer. He's done, but loved it. Also, the other thing, too, like, I've literally had friends of mine say, hey, can you get me tickets? Because they expect them to be hard. One of my buddies is a command sergeant major in the Army, and he called me out of the blue, and he's like, hey, I want to go to the match because I know y'all sing the national anthem before the game. I want to go to the match. It's just these little things. And then the crazy thing about stuff like that, like a lot of the newer players don't even know that they don't even know where that came from. Right. I mean, I think they think it's this whole, nationalistic thing or whatever. It's like, no, it's because it's a tradition that started because the mic went out and then we finished it, so it's just, there's so many cool little traditions that we're building
too. Like, I know we did Papus to kind of start.
Papus freaking that has taken off.
It's taken off.
Yeah.
I mean, all three. There's a good possibility we don't have any of our Polish players on the team after this season. We're probably still going to do it anyway.
Yeah, oh, we're going to do it anyway.
Well,
yeah.
that's become
that's
a
our
thing
thing.
everywhere.
That's
well,
our
that's
thing.
become a thing everywhere, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. But it's cool. People ask. I mean, I've literally had Michael Gainey ask me to go to the soccer match because he's like, I know you sing the national anthem. It's like you just never know what clicks with people.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what clicked with him. And he was like, I want to go to the match. And he's come to a couple more after that and brought his kids. And that's the whole thing even about introducing, like, you know, the messy folks or whatever. Like, they're coming, but they're getting introduced to this super cool experience, and now they want to be a part of it. So, you know, I think the sky's the limit. I mean, I'm going to tell you, if we could figure out, like, a stadium at some point that probably would seat 40,000 at minimum, I would guess. I think we would pack that place out. It has to be in the right place though, because I do also think that a lot of the appeal comes from this stadium being uptown.
Yeah.
And honestly, the businesses love it too.
Yeah.
Well, and so at Red Bulls, right? Red Bull Arena was a pretty darn cool place.
That's a nice arena.
There was no one there for a playoff game.
Yeah.
Like, it was absolutely outrageous. Like, we're looking around and we're like, could you imagine if this was in Charlotte? Like, all the way packed to the top, everyone going crazy, and we're at a playoff game and there's, like, no one there.
If this was at, say, Charlotte Pipe location.
Charlotte Pipe location, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But, yeah, I mean, it would be pretty wild.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, Donnie, thank you for coming on the show. Steven, you were pretty good, actually.
Really? Can I come back next time?
No.
Say that about
Why?
you, though.
I wasn't worried about Donnie so much.
See, polished. Even without a voice, polished.
Steven, no. You just never know, man.
I mean, I can be a loose cannon sometimes, but
You just, like awkward silence you don't do, but just like silence in general you don't do.
yeah, I'll probably sing in the car on the ride home. It's cool.
Yeah, of course.
He's going to call me and talk about the whole thing.
I absolutely am, and if I don't, you'll call me. I know how this goes.
That's also true.
That's what we do.
Donnie's a talker too.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm a talker. I have to admit. Like
We don't ever get a word in with each other. We're always like, shut up so I can say something.
Yeah, I got something on my mind.
well, thank you both for coming on the show.
So we're coming
Yeah,
back.
thank you.
Okay,
We'll see.
I'll take that as a yes. So you're saying there's a chance?
If this means I don't have to be on the show anymore, that's fine. I can just be in the background. And
No,
yell at
I
y'all
like.
for-
No, we
I
like you.
when Corey-
I like you better than him. Like,
And if Gustler was sitting here, I don't know.
That's the thing. We always try to get Corey to talk, and he's like, I'm just gonna produce. I'm like, no, Corey, you're more polished. You sound better.
but
You have
way
more-
less informed than y'all are. So I like listening to y'all and hearing your stories and what's going on, because I like to play the dumb fan. That's my role in this
Well,
podcast.
you're not a dumb fan. You're very smart.
Is there an F1 race going on in Charlotte?
Yeah,
that
we
didn't
were
know
on
about?
the 6th floor.
We're on
in
the
Uptown.
14th floor, aren't we?
no, we're on the 14th floor.
Oh, we were on
That
the
is
14th
loud.
floor.
Yeah.
Sounds like a stock car.
It's a little
I just wanted to see if it would pick it up on the.
atmosphere. I like
Yeah.
it.
All right.
We're
Well,
not at the racetrack at Breeden Smith.
well, big shout out to Renegade Goalkeeping. Big shout out to Birdsong. And yeah, guys.
Grow Mortgage for letting us borrow
And
their
Grow
space.
Mortgage.
Yeah.
This is an awesome space.
Yep.
Kind of need to replicate this in my house. That'd be cool.
You got it.
Let's do it.
I do.
There you go. Yeah.
But all right, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. And